All right. Hope everybody's doing great as usual. I really do. So, I just wanted to put together a quick video I thought was kind of fun. And I'm actually writing down a lot. I'm trying to understand, and I'm almost there as far as understanding, trying to put together the information as far as what occurs when we die and enter the afterlife. So, it is, and just to kind of summarize that, it is a very immediate process. So there's no, souls don't wander on Earth, that sort of thing. I know there's a lot of different experiences and theories with that sort of thing, which I actually have a really interesting explanation for as far as that sort of thing. So that'll be like a whole nother separate series of videos. But just to summarize it again, it is immediate and it is seamless, and then we wake up made whole, completely healthy, and we're greeted by family, friends, all kinds of people are waiting to greet us when we die and cross over. And I came across a really interesting website. It was a few months ago actually, and I wrote it down and I revisited it because I wanted to understand. I was trying to like visualize or understand that experience, as I was trying to piece that together. And it's really, really cool. And the website was How Big Is Your Family Tree? And I was trying to use that to understand, well, and just as a starting point, remember there's infinity just being real and a real concept and everything like that. There's all kinds of people, I imagine, just waiting to meet us and greet us and that sort of thing. But just starting with the family, I thought it was just absolutely amazing. So, of course, we start with two parents, and then everybody has two parents. And then their grandparents have, or their parents each have two parents, our grandparents, of course. So then we all have four grandparents. And then, so that number just doubles. And it doesn't sound like much initially, but I wrote it down to kind of visualize that, and I really wanted to share it because I thought it was really cool. So I'm going to show you that information right now. Okay, so here's the numbers I was talking about. And again, I didn't come up with this. I actually came across it online. In fact, here is the web page and that I found it on, and it talks about the relationship, like how big is your family tree. And then it goes out 17 generations, but I actually continued to do the math to try and see how big the numbers would get. So I wanted to kind of conceptualize that and to help me kind of understand what exactly that number means. And of course, like in the context of infinity as well. So, it's often said and heard, which is true, once we die and do crossover, that we're greeted by like family and friends and that sort of thing, which is absolutely true. But that number, this is really fascinating. This helps kind of paint that picture, if you will. So starting with the first generation, everybody, of course, has two parents. And they, of course, have two parents as well. The constant here is the parental relationship. So it's always doubling, as you can see. And I'll kind of go over how this the math works. Hopefully I did it right. But so you have two parents, of course, and accumulated total of family members so far. That's what this column is. So far, two relatives. Now, grandparents, of course, your parents have each have two parents. So now we're talking four grandparents. And then this number just keeps doubling all the way down, period. So your grandparents, of course, each have two parents. And now you have 8 great-grandparents. And then the accumulated total, so it's always a difference of 2. So you'll see here, 2 parents, you have 2 relatives. Now you have 4 grandparents. Add that to your 2 parents here. Now you have 6. And then add that to your great-grandparents. Now you have 14. So this number here keeps doubling. And this number is simply an accumulation. This number added plus the next number, and then equals this number. So once you get down, it's interesting too, because I know, on Earth and everything, we don't really, we may talk about or reference, great grandparents or great great grandparents, that sort of thing. But since, they're simply not around, then for the most part, I'm not really sure, what the stats are on that, but in general, basically, we don't have great great grandparents or great 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 grandparents, because that alone right there, great 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 grandparents, that's 32 people. That's huge. If you think about it, those are just grandparents. And if you look at what I meant by that was, we don't really have that experience, so it's hard to kind of visualize that. But once you keep going down, this is really cool. So 10 generations, 1,000 grandparents accumulated. You have 2,000 family members now. And remember, this doesn't include their siblings, any aunts or uncles, and every layer in between. By blood, of course, and then you can have people that are adopted. And then, of course, there's in-laws, people who marry into the family. So this is just like the starting point, which is even more crazy if you think about it. But once you get down to 17 generations, you're talking 131,000 grandparents and 262,000 accumulated. That's 250,000 people directly related to you by blood. This is just simple math. Remember, so it's not like assuming in-laws or anything like that, or siblings. This is just hard math, plain and simple. Everybody has two parents, and this is how many people you're related to. So it's really, really cool in that respect. So I wanted to try and conceptualize, like, what does that mean? Just to kind of help myself visualize that as well. So I kept going down further and further. As you can see here, of course, it eventually, in no time at all, hits 2 million right here. So once we go back 20 generations, then we have over 1 million grandparents and 2 million accumulated relatives. So basically 2 million grandparents at this point, almost 2,100,000 waiting to greet us. I was assuming, and I wanted to kind of understand, like, how far back does this go? Not that far back. This is pretty crazy if you think about it. So I was assuming, like, about, say there's a 20-year age difference between you and your parents, or 20 to 40 was the range I used. It was totally arbitrary. I just kind of guessed with that. But just using that as a starting point, 20 to 40 years, at 2 million grandparents, we're only talking a range of 380 to 720 years. So that's not very far back if you think about it. So 380 to 720 years, we're in AD right now. So that, of course, goes back 2,022 years. So this is not even half that number yet. When we're talking millions of grandparents already. So we go back 2,000 years, and it keeps going back before that. Of course, don't quote me on this, but I did some more research too. But like 2,000 years ago, of course, we go back. I think writing or written, when things started to get written down for the first time, was about 5,000 years ago. And of course, we existed so much longer on Earth before that. I think music, I researched music too. It goes back, I want to say 20 to 30,000 years is when they found the first musical instrument, long before we started writing things down and that sort of thing. Or it might have been 40 to 50,000. But either way, humans go back a really long time. And we're only talking a few hundred years right here. So I kind of wanted to keep going, and I didn't really know where to stop, but I did some research, and I figured like the world population would be a good stopping point. So I also pulled up the population of all the U.S. states, ranked by highest population and then in descending order. So as you can see, California, almost 40 million, Texas, almost 30 million. If you picture this, like all California full of your grandparents, that's pretty crazy. Texas full of your grandparents. Florida, nothing but grandparents. New York, all grandparents. So it's kind of funny and fun to think about it that way. And again, it's all true, like hard numbers. That's how many relatives we have. And to get to that point, so as you can see, we only have to go not too many more generations back here to get to the population of basically California here, 24 generations. And then that's how many, of course, grandparents you have. So another thing I was thinking is just really funny is, because, we love our grandparents. and they spoil us. They love their grandkids, and they give you, or they're supposed to give you, like, or they're known to give you all kinds of presents. So I was thinking about that while I was doing this. Funny enough, if you think about that, right here, just this, and this is just a temporary stopping point here. California, 40 million are your grandparents, and they all have presents for you, waiting for you in the afterlife. Probably more than one. So that's just really cool to think about. Now, the world population right now, I Googled that, and it's right between 7 to 8 billion as of right now. So I use that as a stopping point for the spreadsheet. Actually. Oh, here we go. For the spreadsheet, and then just to kind of help myself understand what that looks like. So where do we get that, or where do we arrive at that point? It's right about here. So 32 generations is actually where we hit that number. 32 is where we have well over 4 billion grandparents. Directly, of course, that's not the accumulated number even. So at generation 32, we hit the accumulated world population. And then I went one further than that, of course. So once we have 8.5 billion, then we're at 17. And then who knows after that? And then I did the math again. So right here, and again, we're not talking about that far back. So between here and here, to reach the world's population, we're only talking a range of 640 years to 1,280 years. And that's just insane. Like a whole planet full of nothing but your grandparents. And that's only stopping at 1,200 years ago, 12 to 1,300 years ago. It goes back and back, and that number goes up and up. And I can't even imagine what that is. But you can use this, to keep doing that if you want to, and like kind of keep using the numbers and just see how crazy it gets. This number right here, what I did was I took 20 and then I multiplied it times 19 in order to, so it's not this number here of the line that you're on for the generation, it's actually one number less. So to represent that generation between you and your parents. So 20 times 19 is 380, and then 40 times 19 is 720, exactly double. So that's how I got this range. And you can use that same formula down here. I did that. So 20 times 32, and then 40 times 32 gives us 640 to 1,280 years. So that's pretty cool. And hopefully you found this pretty interesting. I sure did. And again, just the sheer amount of people that are waiting to greet us, once we die and make that transition, I think is just so cool. And again, just a starting point. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And this is the information right here that I wanted to share with you. Okay, so there it is. That was the info that I wanted to share. I thought it was so cool, and really helps kind of, at least for me it did, really help kind of visualize and give me more of a context as far as what exactly, well, who exactly is waiting to see us when we die and then we cross over. So it's I don't know what to say. It's just totally mind-blowing, and I had a lot of fun putting that together. So again, just really wanted to share that, and I thought it was really cool. Any ideas or comments or questions, feel free to leave them, of course. And about this video or other videos too. So I plan on doing more videos as far as, again, like the experience of entering the afterlife, and more things about like spiritual abilities and gifts and how they work, and then piecing that together as well. And it's coming together, and I can't wait to share that stuff. So thank you so much once again for watching. I really do appreciate it. And absolutely, dude, please take care, and we'll see you next time.